Personal story segment tonight. 27-year-old Sean Stone, son of controversial director Oliver Stone, converted to Islam in Iran on Valentine's Day. The younger Stone is also a filmmaker and was traveling to Iran to produce a movie about a Persian poet. Joins us now from New York City. Mr. Stone, we have no beef that you converted to Islam. We applaud all religious people of conscience. But your association with Iran is interesting. Since that country is an enemy to America and many other countries in the world, just heard a discussion with Colonel Peters about the Israelis maybe getting ready to attack Iran. What say you?
Well, in the first place, I wouldn't say, the conversion is an interesting word because I don't believe you can convert from one God, from one God to the same God. So I've always believed in the same Judeo-Christian God, and I think it's a misunderstanding of Islam to say that it's Allah is a different God. It's just a different name for the same one. So I accepted Islam, and I think it's an important move. Also politically, if you want to understand the history of this region, because the Persians have been Muslim for going on 1,400 years. They have many Jews in Iran, and actually I spoke with some when I was in Isfahan, which is where I took the vow. And the Iranian people are very intelligent people. I had great discussions with politicians. I met with the president briefly. I had discussions with the advisor to the supreme leader. And every time I had these conversations, I was very clear in saying, let's stop with this down with America nonsense. And, they have a problem with our government, and it has to do with imperialism as a long-standing policy in this region, going back to the British Empire. But they understood my point of view, and I think it really helped for the American image, frankly, by my being there and having these conversations and having this dialogue.
Well, I don't have any beef with you being there. It's just a matter of how you present it. I mean, your father's a very controversial guy because he, had some kind things to say about Hugo Chavez and Fidel Castro in the past. But look, when you have a guy like Ahmadinejad, you said you met him for a little while, when he makes a public pronouncement that the Holocaust never happened, that if he could, he'd drive the Israelis into the sea, you're dealing with a guy who is an extremist. He's a fanatic. And it would be like if you were in Germany in the 1930s and you were talking to Himmler and you were talking to all these guys and you were trying to get them to be reasonable, which I assume you're trying to do. You basically can be seen as a pawn there. You can be seen as somebody who's being used because, you come from a family that's very well known.
That could be. I mean, with Ahmadinejad, he's a little bit misunderstood because there are many factions in that country, and he said some sensational things. But, for example, he said, Israel should be dissolved insofar as he's talking about the West Bank specifically. And I think that's the point of clarification.
Look, the one thing that he said that's undeniable was he said that the Holocaust never happened. And once you get into that kind of a fringe lunatic assessment, all right, your father's Jewish. I mean, come on. Once you get there into those territories, there's nowhere else to go, Mr. Stone. You got to know that, man.
Totally agree. His point on the Holocaust has always been, if the Holocaust taking place in Germany, from Europe, from European Christians as well, going back to pogroms in Russia, why should that influence Israeli policy in regards to the Palestinians, in regards to the Middle East? That's always been his point on that matter. There's no room for Holocaust denial, of course. I would never agree with that. But I just think that it's simplistic to say that he is a fanatic. When you talk with these people, the point is we have to have a dialogue about Israel in this region because it's still a problem, and I think we need to open it up. And I would love for Jimmy Carter, for example, to go there and start this dialogue again.
I don't think Jimmy Carter's going to Iran. I mean, he doesn't have real good memories from the first time around with them. They kicked his butt.
They did.
All right, I got 30 seconds left. You okay with Iran having a nuclear weapon? You yourself?
I am, because it's a republic and there are factions, and it's very much like this country. There's a lot of unrest inside that country from the economic point of view. I think there could be an Occupy Tehran coming in the next months or years because it's a dynamic place, and
it is. But if they have a nuke. If they have a nuke, then you're putting a nuclear weapon into the hands of very, very unstable, fanatical people, in my opinion, and it can't be allowed to happen. Mr. Stone, we appreciate it very much. Thanks for coming on tonight.